Hi, it's Sunday morning. Of course, I have my cuppa here, and you may hear Adrian outside. We live near the goldfields in the Barossa in South Australia. There he is. And Adrian's convinced that he's going to find gold here. So he goes out for hours and hours and looks for rocks. And he really enjoys it. So he's sitting down about 300 meters from here, looking at rocks. I'm considering what sort of meditation to do next. And the day before yesterday, a number of events occurred. And I reflected upon these events and how these events affected my life and what was my best journey forward following this. It was a painful experience which brought grief. So I pondered on this and I did some writing. I'm going to read you out what I wrote. I'm going to do a body scan focusing on compassion. So I generally think about it, do some writing, and then I do the meditation without a script. But I've already thought about it and researched it. In contemporary society, I'm reading to you now, my thoughts, the dichotomy between compassion and the glorification of aggressive behaviour, dominating behaviour, entitled behaviour, narcissistic behaviour presents a troubling narrative. While we are taught to embrace empathy, we're taught that through our religious beliefs, through our communal beliefs, compassion is held high. But is the practice of compassion held high? We're taught to embrace empathy and kindness. We see Pema Chodron and Adyashanti and other prophets, shall we call them, talking about the importance of compassion and kindness. And I am Brené Brown. I am interested in demonstrating compassion and kindness, yet I wonder whether our society works against that mind frame and that practice. We are taught to embrace empathy and kindness. The media often celebrates bombastic personalities who wield their power through belligerent bullying. I wonder whether our society cultivates the applauding of belligerence and seeing belligerence as strong and compassion as weak. So although we are taught to practice kindness, you can hear my stomach. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm using this moment while Adrian's outside. I always make his breakfast on Sundays. And my stomach is going, no, we have to have breakfast now. Don't record. Okay, stomach, I'm going to keep recording. I'm going to read this again because I got distracted. While we're taught to embrace empathy and kindness, the media often celebrates bombastic personalities who wield their power through belligerent bullying. Have we forgotten what bullying is? Any comments, any humour, any sarcasm geared towards changing another person's behaviour without allowing their will to thrive, without allowing their true intention to flourish. Trying to coercively control through the use of sarcasm, dominating, talking over, this narrative at the moment in the media where the definition of humour has changed. Humour is supposed to be found funny by the receiver, by the person hearing, not to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I'm talking about so many examples on social media or media. The contradiction creates a cultural paradox where compassion is mistakenly perceived as a sign of weakness, undermining the very values that foster community and understanding. Compassion in its essence is a strength that builds bridges and nurtures human connection. When I read this, I think about that quote I talked about in my last piece, where people say, build a bridge, get over it. And it's so flipped out, it's so sort of spewed out by people. I'll build a bridge, get over it. Such a common phrase that I hear with people around me, where instead, compassion in its essence is a strength that builds bridges. Builds bridges in order to have connection, not builds bridges in order to get over it and keep going. So the rhetoric, build a bridge, get over it, is said in order to undermine, distance, walk away from. It's almost like we validate turning our back upon victims. You know that phrase, oh, you just have victim mentality. What is that? That's an excuse for us to turn away rather than confront and embrace. Compassion promotes resilience and fosters environments where individuals can thrive. Yet we find ourselves in a landscape where loud voices and confrontational tactics overshadow the quiet strength of empathy. Don't you love that? The quiet strength of empathy. Oh my giddy aunt. This applaud for aggressive behaviour not only polarises communities but also diminishes our capacity for genuine dialogue. To have the guts, the courage to say what you think so we can have banter without fear. Genuine dialogue and mutual respect. As a society, we must reclaim the narrative around compassion. Compassion is strength, belligerence is weakness. Empathy is strength, domination is weakness. Entitlement is weakness. Gathering around in groupthink is weakness. We're all tempted to do it, certainly, but it's weakness. It is the animal within us. It is the Lord of the Flies mentality where we bully the smaller, the quieter. The quieter is not always weaker. Often the quieter is the one with the wiser voice. It is time to celebrate those who demonstrate kindness and understanding, recognizing that true strength lies in our ability to uplift others rather than tear them down. Uplift others rather than tear them down. By fostering a culture that values empathy over aggression, we pave the way for a more harmonious and supportive world where individuals feel safe to express vulnerability and seek connection. In this shift, we can redefine what it means to be strong, embracing compassion as a powerful force for change. Let's see compassion, Joan of Arc, compassion as strength. Those people that present as belligerent, those people that present as having coercive control, often go through stages as presenting as the victim. Oh, if you truly loved me, if you really cared about me, you wouldn't speak to her anymore because of the way she did this and this and this. Oh, I'm really concerned about her anxiety. I'm really worried. Maybe there's something wrong with her mental health. Oh, I'm sick of her intensity, always wanting to volunteer for everything. She's so intense. Oh, I'm just tired all the time of so-and-so. I really have a right to my own opinions. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm using random rhetoric that people who demonstrate narcissistic themes use. People with narcissistic themes do not present as narcissistic. They are the sheep in wolves' clothing. Have I got that phrase right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody who is entitled, somebody that cultivates aggression in society, rarely presents as systematically, consistently aggressive. They go under the radar. As my sister Camille says, they go under your skin. They get under your skin. We need to take care to put our lenses of clarity on, to see clearly and notice when we join a group, when we join a subculture, we want to belong. So our clarity, intuitive gut may not be as loud, may not have a strong voice within us. We need to look at the pattern of behaviour. There are times where the leader in a subculture, the leader in a group, their voice is not a kind voice. Their voice is not compassionate. Listen beyond the words. What is the behaviour teaching? Is it teaching us to isolate? Is it teaching us to exclude? We need to take care and be careful. Think and think again and think again. Groupthink. We are all susceptible to groupthink. What is the effect of our behaviour? What is the consequences of our behaviour? What is the domino effect of our behaviour? So compassion is the theme of my next body scan. It's going to be an extended one. I'm going to record it today around Adrian banging rocks and making Adrian's breakfast, which is a highlight. Oh, I've got some other news too. I'm getting a couple of horses, a couple of rescue horses too. So I'll have to introduce you. Let's look at this again. In our society, the dichotomy between compassion and the glorification of aggression presents as a disappointing story, a disappointing narrative. We are taught to embrace empathy and kindness. Yes, we're taught, but where is the practice? The media, our media celebrates bombastic personalities. Go no contact. If someone treats you badly, walk away. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying let's think. Listen to him banging. There is a contradiction, a cultural paradox where compassion is mistakenly seen as weak. Is compassion weak? Just because it's quiet, just because it's soft, does not mean it is not a lion. Often lions move with stealth, quietly through the forest. Our applaud for aggressive behaviour not only polarizes, separates, excludes communities, but often diminishes our capacity for genuine dialogue and mutual respect, the ability to understand another person. As a society, we need to reclaim our narrative around compassion. Let's talk about it. Compassion is tough. It's the ability to go back to somebody that's hurt you. Not always. Trauma is different. Go back to somebody who's hurt you and say, I do not accept your behaviour, but I still care about who you are. I do not understand your sentiment, but I still want your happiness, your health, your well-being. I still care about you, even though you no longer speak to me. Let's foster a culture that values empathy over belligerence. Let's pave the way for harmony and support the world. Let's redefine what it means to be strong and embrace compassion as a powerful force for change. How can we embrace compassion? I was struggling with this over the last couple of days because somebody who I love did something that was exclusive, that was isolating. And I've been battling how to process this because there were feelings of hurt, feelings of sadness. Our role is not essentially to sit in the corner and take our bat and ball home. Our role is to reflect and then come out of that corner in the boxing ring and fight for compassion. Stand up for kindness, not only in others, but in ourselves. We are all susceptible to groupthink. We are all pulled to wanting to please the group, even if the group is a Lord of the Flies group. I love that book. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it, go and read one of my favourite books. 1984, George Orwell and Lord of the Flies. The Plague, my favourite books. Let's not be a character in the Lord of the Flies. Let's practice compassion. And gee whiz, it's hard to practice compassion. Sometimes we feel that we're like snails and we get beaten, our antennae get beaten on the head, and we want to nurse our wounds. Reflect, nurse your wounds, then get back up and practice empathy. I'm sorry, my filter, my phone really needs replacing, so now the sun's coming in, it's kind of making me disappear. I need another phone. You're going to have to put up with this phone for a little bit longer. I'll show you outside, and I look forward to presenting my meditation. I'll show you outside. I'm just going to take you outside. Listen to the sounds. You're going to hear Adrian with his rocks, which is hilarious. There's my little thinking. Is there any kangaroos? Normally there's kangaroos here in the morning. Not this morning. And I can see Adrian. I'm not going to show you Adrian. He's in his dressing gown. Have a lovely day, everyone. Enjoy your day. We will.